Hey everybody, this is Chris. I'm here with Jeff from the Hamilton Amateur Astronomer Club, and we're doing a segment of Talking Telescopes where we talk to our members about their telescopes. And today we're talking about a couple of Jeff's telescopes, including this cannon, which is really impressive. It looks like some sort of a space laser gun, which I think I commented that Dan's Coronado looked like a space laser gun, but sorry, Dan. This one's got you beat. Jeff, what do we have here? What is this?
So this is another SkyWatcher mount. I have two smaller SkyWatcher mounts with 11 pounds capacity. This one has 33 pounds capacity, and it's called the Sky-Watcher AZ-EQ5. So it's just like the HEQ5 mount. It's similar construction and everything like that. However, this can be changed into an alt-az mount or go back to an equatorial mount. There is simply a clamp here on the back that you use to turn the mount. I can show you how it turns. And it takes about 5 minutes to do everything, to configure everything. You take this saddle off this side and you put the counterweight bar on that side. And this becomes the main saddle for the telescope. And it would be, of course, be up like this. So that's how that works. So I mentioned before how I value versatility. This is a very versatile mount, and I've actually used it in this mode. I've done a lunar and a solar eclipse with two telescopes on this, and I actually did one outreach with it. I think, yes, did an outreach down on Van Wagner's Beach one year. So it's a little bit difficult to get the telescopes aligned perfectly with each other, so they're sort of pointing at the same target, but you get two entirely different fields of view. Like for instance, this is a 6-inch reflector that was on a Dobsonian base. This actually is the SkyWatcher Heritage 150p. I still have the Dobsonian base, but I've never used it. I just put it on a mount so I can go from there. This is a collapsible flex tube. Now that doesn't mean that the tube flexes, but you can put it into, it's very portable again. I think this is about 14 inches long, so it's really easy to carry around. It's very light, easy to set up. It had a really bad focuser on it, so I changed it to this helical focuser. There was another helical focuser, it was just a piece of garbage. So I did do an alteration to that. So that's a good telescope. It's very bright. It's got a 750 millimeter focal length. I've imaged with this telescope, just sticking a DSLR in there and away you go. That's pretty cool. And it's kind of a fast imager because this is an F5. So it's pretty fast. Not bad at all. Over here, another SkyWatcher telescope, a reflector. This is the SkyWatcher EvoStar 72 ED telescope. Technically an apochromatic telescope. I don't know. They always say that. But I haven't got the opportunity to do much of anything with this as yet. I bought it used, and it was messed up. The guy that owned it, a young fella, decided to work on it himself.
Oh no!
Like when I went to buy it, they already had it at a good price, but I could smell petroleum like grease or gasoline or something, and I thought, okay, this is going to be a job. So I talked him down quite a bit in price. I got a super deal.
Was he trying to make it faster?
So yeah, I think he was just using it as a lubricant and actually ran down inside the tube. So I cleaned it all out and cleaned all that stuff up and adjusted it all, and it's working fine now. So I'm looking forward to do some serious imaging with this.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice one for imaging.
At some point. Yeah. I do have my own guide scope and guide camera now.
Okay. Which one is that?
This is the TubeTech. TubeTech, for those of you who don't know, is a kind of a company that's been in the background making cameras all along, CCD cameras for security and all that, but also for astrophotography. Now the CMOS cameras. This is just the on the 120 chip. So this is a color one.
Yeah, that's a very popular chip for
Yeah,
little
yeah,
guide cameras and planetary.
yeah. Now its frame rate's not super fast.
Hmm.
I think depending on the resolution you choose, you might get 90 frames a second or something out of it.
Well, for imaging.
Yeah. So, and again, I'm looking forward to trying that. I just have to figure it all out. So
So, yeah.
I went from simple with the regular Alt-Az, and now I'm getting into more complicated stuff. Um, just like the AZ-GTI, because this is marketed by SkyWatcher as an Alt-Az telescope, it does not have a polar scope. So polar alignment becomes somewhat of a challenge, and I'm working on that. Uh, Looking forward to getting proper polar alignment all the time and using guiding
Hmm.
to get the longer exposures and see what I can do from there. I've also bought myself a color camera on the 294 chip
Hmm.
for doing deep sky imaging. So again, something I'm looking forward to learning about.
Well, I've got so many questions for you. So, starting with the mount itself. So, this mount, you've got it sitting on a tripod, sitting on a pure extension. Is that an extension or is that a pure that just comes with the tripod?
Comes with a tripod.
Comes with the tripod.
Yeah, I didn't mention that before. So you get the mount, you get the extra saddle,
Hmm.
you get a couple of counterweights that are sitting over there. You
Hmm.
get the counterweight bar included, along with this tripod and this extension here.
Okay.
It's a 1 3/4 inch stainless steel, so it's pretty decent.
Hmm.
It's not rock solid like an EQ6 is, but pretty decent.
It looks pretty solid from here. And I saw you lifting this earlier. So for anyone interested, how much does the mount itself weigh? If you're just going to pick up, let's say you take off the telescope and you just want to move the mount, how much are you up to at that point?
I don't actually know how much it weighs now. Without the telescopes, I got my power station down below. Without that, I
Hmm.
think that thing weighs 8 pounds. Um, it's not too bad for me to carry. Um, I've put it in my vehicle and gone to a remote site and used it. Um, I don't find it a struggle, but I mean, some people might not want the hassle of
Mm.
moving something that's heavier, and that's where I would suggest going to one of those lighter mounts.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, if you're in the market for a light mount and you're okay with only equatorial mode, then the newer SkyWatcher GTI mount
Hmm.
would be the way to go. Now that's instead of the star trackers, it has two axes that are motorized, and it
Hmm.
also has a built-in polar scope. But it cannot be converted to Alt-Az. It's only going to be
Yeah,
equatorial,
yeah,
and they do cost significantly more.
yeah. I'm sure they do.
So, did you have another question about this?
Yeah. So first of all, how do you control this mount?
So this one, you can control one of two ways. It came with the hand controller, but
Hmm.
again, I'm not a big fan of hand controllers. I think they're kind of like, yesterday's news. I like the idea of using a smartphone to control without not being tethered to the mount.
Hmm.
So I basically, can you see it here? Where's it hanging down? That's right here. I went out and bought this Wi-Fi adapter. Okay,
Okay.
plug that into the hand controller port, and now it's got its own Wi-Fi network,
Hmm.
and I can connect to the mount with the same SkyWatcher SynScan app. So because I'm in the same
Hmm.
family, I'm operating one app for all of the SkyWatcher telescopes that I have. All the mounts operate off the same app, which is really convenient. So that's a simple, like I think this was $60, and you've got and you can do that nowadays with SkyWatcher mounts. I think with all of them,
Hmm.
you can put the Wi-Fi adapter in the port, like an EQ6R Pro and all those. Some of them actually now will come with the Wi-Fi network
Hmm.
and not a hand controller.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can connect to the Wi-Fi network from your phone and use the app.
Yep.
So just moving on to the telescopes. So this is a relatively short focal length. I guess it would be a Newtonian style. What's the focal length on this one?
This is 430 millimeters,
Mm-hmm.
72 millimeter aperture.
Okay. And what size guide scope are you using for these?
This is uh, what is this? 160 millimeters long
Okay.
and 50 millimeter aperture.
Okay.
40 millimeter aperture. 40. Sorry,
Yeah.
40.
For anyone who's interested, actually, I'm going to have to find the address for it, but there was a website where you could punch in the parameters of the focal length of your telescopes, the type of camera you're using, and it would recommend the focal length of a proper guide scope so that your guiding would be appropriately matched with the type of imaging that you're using. So that 160 seems like it's right in that sweet spot.
I think
So,
it was, yeah. It's kind of why I bought it. This is a SV Boni.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually pronounced Sviboni.
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 Sviboni. Yep.
Whatever. It's a weird name. And they had just come out with an in between the 30 millimeter and the 50 millimeter. This is the
Yep.
40. So.
Okay. Okay. Wait, which model is that? Is that the? I think I have the same one.
Yeah.
On
This one,
yeah.
by the way, again, I like versatility.
Mm-hmm.
This one can be converted into a right angle finder scope.
Oh, okay.
You can put
I don't
your
have
own,
that one, but
you can
yeah.
put your own diagonal and eyepiece in it, which
Yeah.
I've used it for the longest time. I just converted it to a guide scope recently.
Mm-hmm.
It has the tube extensions and everything for you to do it, so it's pretty cool.
Very cool. So
yeah.
I'm gonna, once you've gotten some time on it, some more time on it, I'm gonna come back and ask you how the guiding is going. More curious because so you are located in Hamilton, and like me, you've got some pretty bad skies. We're both kind of Bortle 8, Bortle 7, depending on direction. I'm curious what your experience is going to be like with the 40 millimeter guide scope in terms of guiding with a bright sky. So I haven't had too many issues, but I do know that on occasion, when seeing does get bad or the sky does get brighter, I do lose the guide stars more often with the shorter or the smaller aperture guide scope than I do with my 50 millimeter. So I'll come back and ask you about that. So you mentioned this is an Apple. Is it a doublet, a triplet?
It's a doublet.
It's a doublet.
Yeah.
Okay, and
with
just
a piece of ED glass.
so what does that mean? What is ED glass, and how is apochromatic different from an achromatic refractor?
So ED glass, it's basically a glass that's designed to remove the problem with the misalignment of the different colored focal lengths.
Mm-hmm.
When they're not aligned properly, you'll see this color fringing around bright objects,
Mm-hmm.
stars, and bloating. And if it's corrected with this ED glass properly, then you should see a greatly reduced. So that's kind of what I know.
So
it does have, it's got sharp views.
Yeah, well, I bet. Like it's a popular scope.
Like any reflector does. This is an f6, so it's pretty fast.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And do you have, so for this one, you mentioned that you used your camera with it before. Mm-hmm. Do you have a coma corrector, or would you get one for this telescope?
I have one now. I have it for the big Dob here. Mm-hmm. I have a coma corrector. I haven't used it on this. I don't even know. Now that's a spacing issue with that, so I don't even know if I can get the spacing with a helical focuser that only moves up and down about 17 millimeters, I think, is the total amount. So I don't know if I could get that. But with this, I would use like a cropped sensor anyways. Mm-hmm. And really, you use a crop sensor and you kind of crop the image, and you're kind of eliminating that whole problem with misshapen stars.
Right, right. And for anyone new to astronomy or astrophotography, we were discussing in previous video the Maksudov that you have, and that one has a corrector plate to correct for the curvature of the mirror. With something like a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, you would have a separate corrector / field flattener that you put on the back, on the visual back of the telescope. with the Newtonian style telescope, where you have a mirror at the back, and that mirror reflects to the secondary. There's no built-in correction. So if you want to take advantage of the full field of view that the mirror affords, you would have to correct the coma, which is really the misshaping of the stars around the edges of the field of view, with something called a coma corrector.
Yeah, and you're also, because the faster the telescope is, the worse that field curvature is. More you're getting more coma.
Mm.
This is an f5, so
Mm.
you know some reflectors are like an f3.5 or something like that. You would have a serious problem, not for sure in imaging, but even for viewing, you would see the curvature. You don't really see it for viewing in this, but you do see it definitely in your image for sure. So.
And have you been using this one a lot for viewing?
Not a lot. The reason is this one I've never been able to get to stabilize. There's kind of like this was a really cheap telescope for starters, like
Mm-hmm.
with on the Dobsonian base, like $350,
Mm-hmm.
if that. But it's only got two support tubes for it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah,
and held on by these little thumb screws.
Yeah.
Like maybe a M6 thumb screw kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, or a 1/4 inch thumb screw. So there's a lot of flexure and stuff. So again, and you'd only use this, you'd never use it in equatorial mode. You'd use it in LTAS mode. Again, you can get away with a lot of problems by doing short exposures. And people think that you're going to have to deal with a lot more noise doing short exposures. But if you stack enough of them, you can, overcome that problem of more noise. The noise ratio being so much higher on shorter exposures than on longer ones.
Right.
So I don't think I'll go that far with it. It is, I got to tell you, it's a really nice telescope.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the website Telescopic Watch?
No, I haven't.
Okay, everybody that's looking for a telescope has to go to this website. It's run by an astronomer by the name of Zane Lander, who's from Connecticut, and he has owned himself over 420 telescopes.
Wow.
He's not an old guy either. And he actually builds his own Dobsonian telescopes, grinds his own mirrors, right up to 40-inch Dobsonian telescopes. Okay, this guy knows his stuff. And he has this massive website where he reviews countless telescopes and ranks them by their features. And his main point of interest is targeting more to beginners, is what's the best value telescope you can get for the money.
Mm-hmm.
So he would start off at telescopes under $500. This is all US numbers. And he would go up in categories and price ranges into more and more expensive and more sophisticated telescopes. Not just telescopes, eyepieces, all different kinds of stuff he reviews. It's amazing. His favorite beginner telescope is this one here on a GoTo Alt-Az Dobsonian base. It's called the SkyWatcher Virtuoso. And get the same size, the 150p, the 6-inch. It's like a fabulous go-to telescope for $600.
Wow, that's amazing.
Check it out, really. It's cool.
That's a great price.
I wish I would have known I would have got that. The problem with those little Dobs, though, now is you can't just sit down beside them because you can still be so low to the ground.
Yeah.
So it needs to have something like a stable table or a stool or something to put the Dobsonian base on.
Yeah.
And have it secure. So that's the only drawback to it. Other than that, it's a great travel telescope.
Which, by the way, is funny because Celestron, for some of their Dobs, their tabletop Dobs, they have tripods that are basically the same entry-level tripods as they would use for I don't think it's the same one as the SC line.
Those are older.
Yeah.
It's an older idea that they had, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Which ends up looking kind of funny because you've got this tripod and then you've got this big base
Yeah.
of a daub sitting right on top.
Yeah.
So it looks unwieldy, but it's a solution.
But anyway, I'm looking to have some fun with this mount.
Oh, that looks like an awesome setup. Yeah.
I have actually imaged with two DSLR cameras.
Mhm.
Like when the eclipse happened last year.
Yeah.
I actually had live view I had a bunch of people over to the house. We had live view in my backyard.
Mhm.
Two different looks at the sun from
Yeah.
two different telescopes. Actually, I used the Mac in this telescope.
Mhm.
The Mac really narrow, tight view on the sun, and this one a nice wide field.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and I had it set up. You see this up here? I made this to fit on a tripod
Okay.
like that. And then I had the cameras mounted inside.
Yeah.
So it completely blocked out the sun.
Yeah.
You could see nice bright images on the smartphone cameras, and
Very cool.
everybody enjoyed that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Jeff, thank you for sharing. This is a really, really incredible rig. It's very versatile. Hope to see it at some of the outreach events. I guess you can have multiple people viewing from this at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's going to be really fun for imaging as well.
Yeah.
So thanks for your time, Jeff. Thanks for sharing, and
Thank
everyone,
you.
thanks for watching.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.